Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. This is Lindsay's Recycled Bliss and I am Lindsay. So this week I did something for the first time. I took part in an online estate sale auction, and obviously everything is sight unseen, it's just through pictures. So I got this little tray full of, it says jewellery boxes for $4. They weren't all jewellery boxes. This is a pillbox. It's a pretty little pillbox. I remember Granny having these. I think they're really cute. I'm going to take that little lining thing out and put some velvet in and put maybe a pair of earrings in my display box. This is actually the only jewellery box that was in the collection, but you can see it's really pretty. It's got velvet on the bottom, it's velvet on the inside, felt on the bottom. It's quite heavy. It's just a metal one, but I'm going to polish that up and I'm going to put jewellery in that in my display cabinet. This little hairbrush, I'm assuming it's a hairbrush. I don't think it's a clothes brush because I've got lots of those. This to me looks like an Art Deco piece just because of the design of it. It's real bristle and wood, so it's quite well made. I don't think it's silver because it's worn off in spots, but it's really pretty piece again, and that's going to go in my cabinet. Now this candle reeks to high heaven. It's an awful smell, but I don't care. I really liked it. I'm going to clean it out and use it in the bathroom for either cotton swabs or Q-tips, and I could have done this last week when I was doing my bathroom makeover, but better late than never, so that will come in handy. This, I believe, may have been an old cigarette case, and then you could buy these back in the 90s. I think you could buy these little plastic things that retrofit them. It could be just a pill box, but I remember having a couple of really old silver cigarette boxes that looked almost identical to that. I remember seeing, like, late 90s, early 2000s, you could buy these little plastic inserts that would retrofit your cigarette cases. So that's what I think that is. And this, obviously, just a little iridescent shell, probably for soap. So these weren't actually from the estate haul. These were a thrift haul that I had, and I got them all for 50 cents each. They are crocheted mostly. They are for tables, and there's an apron, and the work that's gone into them is just beautiful. I don't think people appreciate them. You don't see them as often as you used to, but I always pick them up because I really do appreciate the time and energy that's gone into these beautiful pieces, whether they're crocheted, whether they're embroidered, whether they're sewn. They are pieces of art, I believe. So Tarnished Treasures most recent video, she had an adorable tablecloth, an enormous tablecloth I might add, which was as big as a bed. So she threw it on the bed to iron it and decided it looked amazing, so she kept it there, and I thought, what a brilliant idea. So I was inspired by that, and here we have a big oblong of crochet. So I thought, if I sew it together on three sides, insert either a velvet or a silk pillow, it's displaying it. It's okay, it's not necessarily what it was used for, but it was made for, but you enjoying it every day. All the hard work that's gone into these pieces, you can see them on your couch or on your bed, and they're just beautiful. So that's what I'm going to be doing, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. This next piece is gorgeous. I mean, the time and the energy that's gone into this is very intricate, and I thought this one can either go on the back of the couch, or this is big enough for me to put a big insert in for the bed. And again, look at the work on this, it's gorgeous. So again, look out for those in the next couple of weeks. This is a more modern piece. I don't usually buy this. Is $3. I thought this could be perfect year round. Summertime you could put little butterflies or flowers on it. Fall could be pumpkins, leaves, etc. So that's something that I'm going to be using in my living room and changing it up seasonally. I also picked up these little candles for 50 cents. These are perfect. I have the very narrow little candle holders and it's very hard to find them. So when I do find them, especially in a pack like this, I grab them. So I did pick these up. These are actually for a wedding. But I thought I could use them in France. I'm not going to tell you what for yet, but hopefully you will see, and hopefully it won't be too long before the end of the month. We've had some really good news this week, so everything's moving ahead really quite wonderfully, and hopefully I'll have an update for you very, very soon. So back to the estate sale. This I picked up for $14. Again, it's a picture you're looking at, so you can't see inside it unless they show pictures of it. So I thought it was just a regular desk. I think it may have been a sewing machine or something was in there. It's kind of been retrofit. So I decided to just turn it into a kind of desk jewellery box. These prints were also in there. They're really quite nice. They're classic prints, and then there are two hand-drawn in mats. They are from the UK. I'm not sure whereabouts they were. I can't remember now, but these might be going in my garage sale, or I might use them. It's not stuff that I would normally use. This lamp I paid $1 for. It was stained glass, and I knew I wanted something like this for my hallway. This is something that I'm going to be making over for probably next week's video, and really lovely. Lots of light, really lovely piece. Again, $1. So this was a bit of a bargain, this one. So you can see it's a bit of a mess. It was in the garage, so I've had to give it a really good clean, and then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be changing the colour of it. I'm going to be using a little paint called stained glass effect, and that's what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to be going in my hallway upstairs where I have all of my beautiful William Morris prints. So I want to make it look from that era. So the other week, when I was out thrifting, I picked up a bag, and it had some trim in it, so I thought. I liked the colours, I liked the textures. I thought, oh, perfect. So I left them in the back of my car and forgot all about them. I opened them up this week. Oh my goodness, they're so lovely. This trim is so luxurious. It's so thick and long. And then these two big beautiful tassels. Honestly, for $1, I just couldn't believe my luck. So I took the tassels and I put them in the bathroom with the tie-up that I did with the lace curtains, and they look lovely. And the trim I put on my couch. So pleased. Then at the end of the day, last week, it was about 4:10, and this little thrift shop by us closes at 4:30. I thought, I know, I'll see if I can find some baskets. I'll line them with plastic and I'll plant them up for the spring. I walked in and I found a whole pile of them just sitting there, already done. Baskets great to go, already lined with the plastic, and they were $2 each for the big ones and $1 for the smaller ones, and they were, like I said, originally $6-7 each. So that was an absolutely amazing find. And again, end of the day, what's the chances of finding exactly what you're looking for? Well, there they were. This was a different day at my local thrift store. The display cabinet was 50% off, so I got this mug, Crown Devon. I love the equestrian theme on it, for $2.50, and then I got this beautiful, almost like a red willow pattern, which is very similar to what I have already, and that was $2.50 with the cup and the saucer, and that cup's just enormous. It's just beautiful. So I picked those two up. Also, there was a little bag of wooden office supplies, which I thought would be beautiful on my desk, and I picked those up. And you can see there's a paper clip, there's a tape measure, and there is a little stapler. And they have these lovely little brass or copper, almost like monograms on top of them. They are beautiful, very chic, and I thought they would look beautiful on my desk. So I had my little baskets that I was going to be planting up, and in the meantime I'd bought these little pots. I bought 4 pots from the dollar store a couple of weeks ago. You get the pot, you get this little plug of soil that you hydrate with water, you get a little packet of seeds, and obviously the directions. So there's your seeds. I got a pot of oregano, I got a pot of basil, I've got 2 pots of lavender. So the directions are really quite straightforward. You take the little plug of soil, you put it in a large container, and you put 2.5 cups of water on top. It's lukewarm water on top, and what it does, it hydrates the soil. And once the soil's expanded and absorbed all of the water, you break it up, and then you put that back into the original pot. You sow your seeds on top and then slightly cover them over, there we go, with the remaining soil, and leave them in a warm spot to germinate. You can't see those seeds, it doesn't show on camera, but they're very tiny, so I'm hoping this works. Like I said, this is a dollar store, but they were $5 each pot, so they should really work. Like I said, I did basil, I did oregano, and I did 2 of lavender, because I really do love the lavender. They're so beautiful. So we're going to give them a try, and we're going to see, and we're going to follow their progress over the next few weeks, and hopefully they'll turn out as well as I hope. So I picked up quite a few little seeds and packets, hoping that they'll work. And initially I was going to put them in these little containers there, but I figured that's why I wanted the baskets. So I've got myself a load of soil. This is my soil that had been sitting outside, so it's absolutely water drenched. So I've put it in this basket and hope for the best. I know, if you think about it, new seedlings, that's all they need is lots of water and sunshine. So I've done the first one in this wet soil, and then the rest I use the drier soil. So we'll see how they go. But I've planted various things. So I've pretty well planted everything up. I've left 4 baskets because this weekend our garden centres are opening properly. I put lavender in both of these with irises in the front. And then the 2 little mums that I'd picked up last week, I've also planted them. So as you can see, I've made a right mess, but I have got some that are sprouting up already that I did last week. So hopefully over the next few weeks everything should come along nicely. So you won't be surprised, but I'm going to gold leaf some of this desk. I'm a bit of a gold leaf queen. So what I've done is I've used the natural pattern on the desktop. There's like a border on the outside, so I'm giving that a quick sand, and I'm going to gold leaf this outside square, and then I'm going to be adding a transfer through to the middle of it. So I'm also going to be putting decoupage inside and also material. So you'll see in a moment how it all comes together. tried this water-based adhesive for gold leaf. I got it off Amazon. It was supposed to be dilute with water and it didn't work. It was useless. Don't use this. I usually get the one from Michael's. It is perfect. That's what I didn't have. I tried to use what I had, this stuff, it just didn't work. You can't really tell in the long run. I went over it with what I had left of my previous adhesive, so just don't buy it. It was terrible. Gold leaf was done. I used the redesign with Prima Redesign Decor Transfer. This was from Amazon. It comes in a tube in 3 parts. So what you're supposed to do is remove the white underpiece while leaving the top piece in place. Mine moved. You can use a little bit of tape when you do it properly. I messed up, but it didn't matter. I just fixed it. I put it back down in place where I wanted it, over the mistake that I made, and then just went over with gold leaf and gold adhesive, and you wouldn't notice the difference. So it worked out fine. But don't do as I do as I say. Once this is in place, normally it sticks straight away. So once I'd got it there, I rubbed it down with my hand, and then with you get like a little palette stick to make sure it's adhered to the surface. Once that was done, then I just filled in the area that had messed up with a bit of gold leaf adhesive, and then went over it with gold leaf just to make it look as though it was meant to be that way. So once the outside was done, I concentrated on the inner side. I wanted to add velvet to this piece, and then some floral rose paper to the bottom of the main piece of the desk. I also added a little bit of decoupage just inside the cover, and I was going to use the rest, but I'll save that till next time. So I'll have all the reveals shortly, but I wanted to show you how I make bespoke art. I grabbed some canvases. I've got a few different sizes, and I decided after the tables that I made a couple of weeks ago, some of them had turned out so nicely. I thought I wanted to make my own artwork. I'd been looking online and it's so very expensive, and I thought, well, I'll see if I can do it myself. So I took the large canvas that I had, and I wanted to add colour to the canvas, nothing too, not just a plain black or a plain red. So I mixed all the colours together and gave myself a basis that were all the colours that were in the print that I was going to use. So it was a large equestrian print that I was using, and there were browns and there were blacks and there was gold and there was red. So I mixed them all together and gave it a sort of depth and a layered look to the canvas, so it almost looked like it had been hand painted. So this is what I did on the base. I painted the whole thing again with the colours that were in the print that I was going to be using. I knew that I was going to be gold leafing over this, and I wanted some of it to show through, so I wanted it to look like the canvas underneath had been painted similar to the background of the picture. I then went ahead and coated the back of the picture with my Mod Podge, because I was going to be sticking it directly to the canvas and then going over it with gold leaf adhesive and eventually gold leaf. Again, I wanted a patchy look. I wanted it to look as though, you know, it had worn off over time. I wanted it to look very you know, not sort of modern, but have a modern type of touch to it, because it was quite obvious that it wasn't an original artwork, but I wanted to make it my own. So once it was all stuck down and I was happy with it, I went back over it with the gold. I wasn't happy with the colour that I'd put too much brown back on the picture, so I went back over it with this gold so that I knew I would see more of this underneath the layers. As I added my gold leaf, I went back in and added darker bits and blended it over the edges of the picture, covering more picture in some areas than others. So let's see how everything turned out. First of all, the trim and the tassels. So this is the trim that I added to our two-seater couch. The colour's perfect, the length is perfect, and I think it looks like it's always been there. You might have a different opinion, but I think it looks great. And I always think a big thick trim like that makes things look more luxurious anyway. If you add trim to anything, it always looks great. So it fit perfectly. I have a little bit left over. I might add it to a pillow at some point, but really pleased with how that turned out. And here's the tassels. They're massive, they're oversized, they're purple. They just look fantastic in the bathroom, tied up with the curtain. Love it. So to the desk. There we go. Now, really, would you know that I'd screwed that up? I don't think so. I think it looks quite nice. The inside, it was still a little bit wet. You can see the white of the decoupage. It was still a little wet when I took the photograph, but that's all dried out now and it's perfect on the inside. A little bit of damage on the back, so I rubbed that down and added this same paper on the back. That's all dried off now, so there's no bubbles or creases in it, but it certainly looks better than it originally did. This desk actually was quite plain, so I chose to highlight some of the areas with the gold. Same with the floral. I covered up my mistakes with the gold leaf. I think it looks fine. It certainly looks more French country than I would say anything else, but it's certainly a functional piece. You could use it for whatever. I thought it would be nice to have it as a desk and as a display area. The desk part could be, you could keep your papers in the larger part and then pens or even jewellery on the other side where the velvet was. Again, it certainly looks prettier than it did when it started, I believe. So, last but not least, the art. It's not everybody's taste, I know that, but it's something that I've been wanting for a while and didn't want to pay $40 for it. I've also got another little piece that I'm working on with some butterflies, so hopefully I'll have that finished for next week's video. But I really like this little equestrian corner. I really have a thing for horses and riding at the moment. I'm going to see if I can find my old riding hat and a couple of little equestrian pieces that I do have and have a little display for them. But I'm really pleased with how that piece of art turned out, and hopefully you enjoy it too. There's a few things that I'm working on for next week. There's the lamp. There's a piece of art, there's some outdoor furniture, so hopefully we'll have that for next week's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.